Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Should have been reading today. I'll be doing my March TBR. So I'm actually super excited to jump into March. I feel like February has not been the greatest month for me personally in terms of my reading. So I'm hoping that March will be better. But yeah, let's just get right into the books that I am hoping to read for March. So before I jump into the 6 books that I intend to read from my TBR jar, I do have one book that I am planning to read for my book club. So I did start a book club recently in LA because I was like, I feel like there's just not a lot of book clubs out there that want to read the books that I want to read. So I decided to just start one myself. And so this is the second month that we're doing it, and we're reading Love Maidens by Alex Michaelides. I usually have a poll up for them to choose, and this is a book that won. So we're going to be reading this book, which I'm excited for because this is supposed to be like dark academia thriller, and I don't think I've read any books that are in this category, this specific category. So I'm intrigued. I just know that it's something to do with psychological suspense, Greek mythology, murder and obsession, and other than that I don't want to know too much into it because typically speaking I don't like to know too much going into my thrillers. But yeah, so this is the one book that I will be reading already on this list. Okay, so now that that is out of the way, moving on to my actual 6 prompts, and I have my little Owl Crate TBR jar here, so I'm going to be picking my prompts through this. So let's see what my first prompt is going to be. Hopefully it's a good one. Okay, let's see. And it is, okay, so this is a book that is written by an LGBTQ plus author. I have a ton that fulfill this requirement, so I'll be right back after looking through my collection. Okay, so I am back with my first prompt over here, which is LGBTQ plus author, and I'm gonna go with Girls of Storm and Shadow by Natasha. I read the first book many years ago at this point, and I've just been holding on to this book even though it came out like 3 years ago, like in 2019. So yeah, I definitely need to pick up the sequel, and then I can finally pick up the last book in the series. I believe it's just a trilogy, but yeah, I'm excited for it. It's definitely an LGBTQ plus book. I just remember it follows Lei and Ren and something to do with like a demon king in the first book. I might have to reread the first book as a refresher because like I said, it's been many years, especially if this book came out in 2019 and I have read the first book prior to this coming out, I believe. So yeah, like it's been a long time. But yeah, I definitely need a refresher on this book either way, but I'm excited to just dive back into the series. All right, now I'm moving to my second prompt over here, and that will be, let's see. Okay, it's a beautiful cover. So I have a ton that are just stunning. So I will look through the ones that I will potentially read, and I'll be right back. So for this pick, I have the best book for the beautiful cover, and this is one that I've been eyeing for such a long time now, and that is Daughter of the Moon Goddess by Su Lin Tan. First of all, this cover is just absolutely stunning, and I also have the Fox and Wood edition, so it's sprayed edges. It's like a lilac purplish color. I don't know if it's really showing up on camera, but it is so pretty. And this is like the original cover, and the original cover is just so stunning anyways. All I know is that this book follows the moon goddess of China. I believe her name is Chang'e, and that's really all I know, but I've heard absolutely great things, so definitely cannot wait to dive into this one. Okay, now moving on to my third prompt over here. Let's see if there's anything good. Hopefully it's a good one. Let's see. Okay, it's a POC representation, so I definitely have a lot of picks for this, and I'll be right back. Then my next pick over here is my POC representation, and that's going to be The Heart Principle by Helen Huang. This is the third book to the series. I'm really excited. It follows a girl called Anna Sun, who apparently is a viral YouTuber star, and she ends up something happens with her longtime boyfriend where her boyfriend decides to we're going to be in an open relationship. So now she's like, well, if we're going to do an open relationship, I'm going to do it too. So she ends up going on a bunch of one-night stands, and somehow this is where Quan Diep, I'm hoping I pronounced that name correctly, comes in, and things happen from there. Obviously it's going to be a romance, and I'm very excited for it. And I really enjoyed the first book, so definitely cannot wait to tackle this third. All right, moving to my fourth prompt, and that will be, let's see, okay, over 500 plus pages. Okay, that is very doable. I have a lot of books unfortunately that are very chunky, so let me look it over and pick a book. So for this one, which is over 500 plus pages, I'm gonna go with Lightbringer, which is the third and final book to the Imperium trilogy. This is by Claire Legrand. I'm so excited for this book. I'm definitely can't wait to see just how the story ends. I'm debating if I need a refresher because it's been a while since I read the first two books, and all I know is that follows these two queens who span over 1,000 years and how like kind of their fates tie together, even though it's been 1,000 years since the two of them have been like together, like alive. So I don't know, I just don't know if I want to like spend time rereading the first two books, but I think I really do need to do that to really like absorb and fully embrace this book, this last final book. So either way though, I'm very excited for this one. All right, moving on to my fifth prompt, and that will be, let's see, okay, so this book has to have a black protagonist. Definitely have a lot of those, so I'll be right back. Okay, so for this book, which is the black protagonist prompt, I'm gonna read Take a Hint, Danny Brown by Talia Hibbert. I just read the first book and it was so adorable. Cannot wait to read the second book, so of course I had to dive into this one. It follows Danny, who I believe is like the second sister. She's the middle sister, and it says over here that she knows what she wants with like her career, her professional success, academic, all that stuff, but in terms of romance, she is like not very good with that. And one day she ends up asking the universe for the perfect friend with benefits, and this guy, this security guard, comes in, and I guess things kind of happen between the two of them. So I'm very intrigued. I feel like I'm very curious to see how Danny is in this book, because in the first book I feel like she was there, but I didn't really get a ton of vibe from her. I feel like most of it actually came from the youngest sister, who kind of was like, she's a baker, she kind of like is just very flirtatious, all that stuff. But Danny was always kind of like, you know, there, like kind of stoic-ish. So I'm kind of curious to see her role in this book and just kind of see how this plays out. All right, and finally my last prompt, hopefully it'll be an easy one. I feel like that 500 plus page one is going to potentially screw me over, but let's see how this goes. Highest rated on Goodreads. Okay, so I want to go through my highest rated that I own on Goodreads, because the whole purpose of this is really just to read my physically owned TBR. So let me look on Goodreads very quickly and see which book I'll be reading for next month. Okay, so for my last final prompt over here, I ended up getting my laptop and just to see what I have in terms of my Goodreads. So I did filter out to my owned, and now it's my highest rating, and the first one on there is actually Words of Radiance, which is book 2 of the Stormlight Archive. And I am honestly not going to read the first book. They are massive, just so I can get to the second book, so that's gonna be a hard pass. Ascenders Omoro is the second one. I don't know if this is, I know this is the third book, so obviously that's a hard pass as well, because I'm not going to be reading a bunch of this. The next book over here is Return of the Evening Star, which is book 2. So again, I'm not going to be tackling series right now. And the fourth one over here is Unfortunately, but that is Way of Kings, which means if I really want to do this correctly, I'm reading The Way of Kings, which is this massive book. So I'm not so sure about this. I'm not sure. But the one down here after that is Hometown Hope, which I do own, but I don't know where that is. And I might have even given that away, because I know that prior, like this list is not actually cleaned, because before I moved I ended up donating a bunch of books that I was like, I don't think I'll be reading this, and I don't know if that was on there, so I'm not sure. The next one after that is The Sky Punch, which is book 2 of the Ascender series, and the book after that is Project Hail Mary. So basically what this means is that if I want to do this properly, I'll be reading this book. If I want to take a shortcut, I'll be reading this book. They're both chunky, but this is obviously significantly less chunky, and this is, I mean, this is like a really intense book. I just got book 3 actually, so but I do know this is going to be like a 7-book, 8-book series. It's like a giant series, so I don't know if I really want to get into this book, because once I read this one, I feel like I will be tempted to continue on the series, and the third book just came out, so there's gonna be a long wait until then, whereas this book is a standalone, so I can read this book and be done with it. And this is like 450 pages, so I'm leaning towards this one, but I don't know, this is like a really big book. So anyways, these are the books that I will be aiming to read this month. We will see how this goes. I don't know which book yet to pick for these two, but they're both kind of on there for now. But I'm really leaning towards the Andy Weir book just because of capability and knowing myself, I suppose. So anyways, that's safe for this video. Let me know down below which books are you planning to read for the month of March. How was your reading so far for the month of February? But as always, if you like this video, please do give me a thumbs up. It really does help out my channel. And if you'd like to see more content of me, please don't hesitate to subscribe down below, as well as hit the notification bell. And as always, don't forget to follow me on Twitter and Instagram, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye.